Okay, so one of the things I am going to do today is blanch these tomatoes. Now I know it might seem silly to do for just this small amount, but I chose a bunch of tomatoes. This one I'm just going to keep as a slicer. I have a couple Napoli here that still need to ripen up more. I have some tomatoes in here and ripening. They fell off the vine. But I have these. These are Ace 55s in Napolis. So I'm going to blanch these really quick, like for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to put them through my little food mill to try to remove the seeds after I pull off the skin. I am going to then put it in the freezer until I have processed enough tomatoes to make my sauce. The reason for this is I have a bunch of tomatoes out there, but they're all still green. So I have these. I don't want these going bad, so I thought I would blanch them. So this year I am using the blanching method. Last year I showed you this trick my mother accidentally found. This was years and years ago, of course, because my mother, wow, it'll be 2 years in December that she passed away. I can't believe it's been that long already. But we had gone to this flea market, a real big one down in Hartville, Ohio. Everybody knows about that one over here. And there was this woman selling seconds of tomatoes. Dirt cheap, huge boxes full. So me, my mom, and my sister, we all got a bunch of tomatoes. And, you know, I got mine home, I processed them and stuff. But my mom, you know, she was too tired by the time she got home to process her tomatoes. Now, 20 years later, I can understand why. Because let's see, she was the age I am now, I think, when this happened. But anyways, so she put them in the freezer until she felt up to taking care of the tomatoes, making sauce. She gets them out of the freezer, she defrosts them, and the skins just slipped right off. And so she told us about this. She says, you don't really have to blanch. You just put them in the freezer for a couple days or however long. You take them out, you defrost them, and the skins come right out. So I did that. I did it my mom's way last year. And it was very easy, very simple. Now my problem right now is there's no room in the freezer. So I am going to try blanching them. Okay. So here's something. My food mill. I have not used it for tomatoes yet. At the end of the vending season at the flea market last spring, it was May or June, somebody had this vintage, you know, the good quality vintage food mills. It looks like a saucepan, but it's got holes in the bottom, and you do. So I'm going to use it for the first time today. I'm really excited about that. I'm not going to show you you know, you guys know how to blanch. I'm not going to bother with that. I will show you how my food mill works. I am so excited. I have used it kind of like for processing herbs and stuff like that. I haven't used it for sauce yet, so I'm really excited. We'll do that. So I'll show you that today. Oh, and I have to tell you, I just got good news. So next week's Labor Day. And that's when we have our county fair, is over Labor Day. And so I have not been to the fair since like 2018 or before, because in 2019 I went to live on the road. I was gone for 4 years. When I came back, I had a bad leg, and I live in a very hilly area, and our fairgrounds is very hilly, so it's hard for me to deal with hills. I can go up okay. Going down is very, very painful. So I have not been to the fair. I was not planning on going this year. I thought I was going to be home alone, but I just got a message from my son that he and my daughter-in-law, who are truckers, are going to be home for Labor Day. I said, good, you can push me around in a wheelchair at the fair, because I have not been there in years. And one of the rangers at a park system was saying at their booth they give away free seeds, like wildflowers, prairie seeds, stuff like that. So I want to get over there. I have not been in the domestic arts booth in almost a decade. I'm just dying to go. So I'm really excited. That's why I feel I might sound a little bit more hyper right now, because I'm excited that one, they're coming home and I get to see them. And two, I'm going to the fair. So, and that's a good ending to my summer, because my summer it pretty much has ended, because Wednesday I start setting up my booth in the new. Once I start doing that, summer this might end of summer, because I'm getting ready for the new vending season. So anyways, I'm just jabbering. I'm so excited. Anyways, so I'm going to take care of these, and I'll show you how my food mill works. I'm sure you guys all know how it works, but I'm just so excited to show it off. I've been working so hard in the kitchen, I'm running out of room, trying to figure out how to place my camera. But this is my little food mill, food processor thing. I got this at the flea market where I work, with two of these mesh colandered bowls, whatever you want to call them. All three of these together for dirt cheap. And this thing is sturdy. I looked up when it was made. Now I can't remember. I'm thinking it's a Foley, Foley is the brand name. God, I'm thinking it was around the time I was born, or maybe before I cannot remember. I have so many things that are vintage and antique from being a flea market vendor. You get a lot of, this thing is well made. I mean, it is sturdy. Anyways, I'm going to place it up here on top of this bowl. I can't tell if you can see that all right. And I'm going to I'm going to see how an Ace 55 does in here. It's squeaky, I'm sorry. So, maybe I need to cut it up. I've never used this for tomatoes. Okay, I'm going to cut the tomato up. For my herbs, some herbs, it works really good. Boy, what a nice shape this Ace 55 has. You feel the, you know how a lot of tomatoes have those ridges? You can really feel that in here. And that's even after it's blanched. So I blanched these tomatoes, and I did a whole bunch of edamame. I did not grow edamame. My good friend who lives right nearby, she has a gorgeous farm, gorgeous. And she just planted a few edamame plants, and they produce so much. She had more edamame than she knew what to do with. My son loves edamame, as my daughter-in-law does too. So I just blanched those. I'm going to let them dry out, and then I'm going to freeze them for when they're here. Wow, that's next week. So we'll use them next week. I also have beans I got to take care of. I got to get out and do today's harvest. I have to look at my list to see what else I have going on. I have a to-do list. Okay, come on, baby. Oh, I always forget to put a little pressure down on you, especially as it is. See, my goal is to get the meat of the tomato, try to get the seeds out. And so it looks like anybody who has ever used one of these, if you have used one of these and know how to do it the right way, let me know, because I obviously don't. I'm getting tomato juice, which is not a bad thing. But the meat of my tomato on this Ace 55 is kind of like, it's smushed, but I don't know, and then, yeah, it's still there. I'm going to take the left part of the core in here, take that out. Let's see. Oh no, it's supposed to look like tomato juice. See, normally I hate taking the seeds out without a food mill. I've never had a way to take them out, so I would just leave them in my sauce. which to me is not a bad thing. Now that I have this, I thought, well, I'll try getting this sauce, or getting seeds out. So let me see. Because this piece would cook down real good. Just make sure I got those seeds. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I got the seeds out of there. Maybe that's the way you have to do it. I don't know. Somebody let me know. Anybody, if you have one of these old-fashioned food mills. Well, even if I don't get them all out, it'll be a hell of a lot less than normal. So, we'll see. I always have to make my sauce cook down well with, you know, really smooth. My son does not like raw tomato. He can't stand tomatoes, but he loves tomato sauce. So, I have to be careful of that. Make sure it's not a chunky sauce or anything. Although he did seem to do okay when I did that roasted cherry tomato sauce I showed you guys the other day. I did a video on. You know, he didn't really say he liked it, but he ate it. So I don't know. Okay, so I guess that's the way I'm going to do that. So that was an Ace 55. So I'm going to throw in a Napoli. See how that does. All right. Now that I've been doing the squeaking is gone, but it's still a noisy thing. I don't know. Let me see if I break up my tomatoes a little bit more. Good Italian always uses her hands when cooking. This is just for me and my family. I haven't killed any family member yet. I'm sure my son would have a joke to go with that. he's a jokester, my son. So, the Napoli seemed to be easier. They are made for sauce. And I did cut that down a little bit more. So I'm wondering, oh, there's another, I don't want those cores in there. It could be either the texture of the two different tomatoes or that I cut it down smaller. I don't know. Small Ace 55 here. So I'm going to cut this one smaller and see if that's the trick. These are nice tomatoes. I bought these seeds from one of the vendors at the flea market. This nice elderly man named Bill. And every year about January, he gets in a whole bunch of seeds. He sells seeds for this one company. It begins with a B, now I can't remember. But the Ace 55 tomatoes I purchased from him, really good. Amazing seeds. So let's see how this does cut up more. And of course, the Napoli are a bit smaller, so that might be part of it too. Yeah, I don't think it is. It's the consistency of the tomatoes. So, just gonna have to work harder on the Ace 55s. Yeah, so for big tomatoes, I only grew Napoli and Ace 55 this year, and all the rest are like cherry tomatoes. I did the little tiny Mexico midgets. These are delicious, and they're really tiny, great for snacking. And I did some Cherrylicious. Here's a Cherrylicious I did. All the way up to, I think this is a Chadwick cherry. It's more like a salad tomato. And then I did the Napoli, and I did the Ace 55. Now, if I remember correctly, the production with the Napoli versus aroma, I think per plant, it seems like I'm getting more Napoli than I did Roma. They look very similar. So, I don't know. When I make my sauce, I will see. And yeah, if anybody asks for my sauce recipe, we really don't have one. As most Italian families, my family never had a recipe written down. From generation to generation, we were just taught how to make sauce. I remember one time when I think I was a teenager. My friends always loved my mother's sauce. And one of my friends asked for my mother's sauce recipe, and she kind of laughed. She goes, I don't know what to tell you. I just make it. That's what I thought. I just make the sauce. You know, my daughter-in-law, I think she asked me, I said, you're going to have to make it with me one day. I have to show you how to make it. So, my daughter-in-law is not Italian at all. She is from Finland. And she looks very Finnish. But I don't have any daughters. She's like a daughter to me. So, there will be a day when I teach her how to make my sauce, which, well, it comes from Sicily because it's been passed down for so many generations. Like I said, my grandmother and my great aunts were born in Chile because my great grandparents, they moved from Sicily to Chile. Now my uncles, my great uncles, were born in Sicily. And so my family, on my mom's side, originates from Sicily. And so it hasn't been that long. On my grandpa's side, my mom's dad, it was his parents who came from Sicily directly to Ohio. So it really, when you think about it, hasn't been that long. And, you know, it was just the recipe, not a recipe, but showing how to make it, you know, was just from generation to generation. And I suppose if you think about it, there was a time people really didn't have a means to write down their recipes. So they had to teach visually how to do it, and it was passed down that way. But our family does have a hell of a good sauce. So, maybe when I make this, I think I've done a video of me making my sauce. I'll have to look, but if I haven't, I will show you guys again. So I think definitely the Napoli, much easier to put through the food mill. And this is what it's looking like. So not too bad. Be cooking this down with lots of garlic, lots and lots and lots of garlic. I love my garlic. And, you know, when I get enough, now I'm finding when I do small batches of tomatoes like I just did now, and I blanch those, and I put them through here, it's easier. So I'm just gonna put the end product in the freezer. And then when the rest of my tomatoes in the garden are ready, I'll blanch and process those, and then I'll make my sauce and can it. Hopefully, I'll have enough to last to next season. So I'm going to end this segment here.